Good morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome back to the Okaland Research Channel. This is quite a long video. We got 22 slides to go through because we get some exciting news. I just spent 2 hours with Michael dot to dot over the phone, and once again we came to the same conclusion at the same time, working our own streams of investigation, and that's very reassuring for us. The funny fact is that every time we found the same conclusion at the same time, we call each other, "Hey, I got that," and Michael say, "Yeah, I got it too." So that was very interesting. We're gonna enter a series of video now, several of them, because there's very exciting new information we found, and I need to make this introduction one, maybe two videos of introduction for you to understand what are the new documents we're proposing you and what's their meaning. It's a whole new part of the riddle, and I know Michael is eager for me to deliver my first introduction video so he can then plug his own work on this. Michael, I said I wouldn't do it tonight. I'm doing it tonight. So tomorrow you have the second one, most likely. Okay, let's go. This is very exciting news we got for you. First of all, I need this slide, the fair use slide on YouTube, because I'm going to use material from somebody else and I'm going to comment it, do some research and some reports. So that's very well recognized by the fair use guidelines of Google. So I will use this. This book again, I talked about this book in many videos before. It contains some very intriguing information. Some of the book is crazy, and some of the book is so relevant to what we're doing. I ordered it twice, and the reason I ordered it was because I was looking for a sentence in the La Formula bottom text about the Marine Cemetery and the notes that were found according, and I googled it and I found this page, which still exists, and I'm going to show you what it is. Google's got the good idea sometimes, copy and paste, here we go, to give you the book. Well, extracts of the book, but a lot of them, a lot of pages. So if you want to have a look, I put the link into the chat, and you see some pages have been removed, a lot of them, because it's a big book. So this is just 140 pages that were deleted from or not accessible. I must confess you something. So I was typing that text in Google, ended up on that book, and I was browsing it. I didn't know who was Donald Roux and what was this book. And I came to a series of pictures which you don't have access to anymore on Google. It is the series of pictures I'm going to show you in this video. And they're here. They're not available anymore. Actually, I discovered them at the beginning. It was video 2 or 3 I was doing back in the days in January. I found this page and I talked about it on my video. Believe it or not, 72 hours later, those sections were removed. And now I'm going to share those sections with you. I had them under my arm for ages. I've got those pictures and what I'm going to show you for 6 months now, basically at hand. But I didn't believe in it because Donald Roux is controversial and this book is very controversial. So I didn't want to put it up front on any video. But now the content corroborates so much what Michael and I, especially Michael, been doing in the last month that it is so meaningful. So again, I'll put that link and you can have a look at that book and read part of it and see how crazy it is and at the same time how awesome it is. I just don't know. Is it crazy or is it a genius? So in this book, as I said, I managed to find some very high definition, higher than I can get now with my scanner, pictures that were very relevant to our stories. Let me show you. Picture like this, and this is high res, meaning that what are we looking at? We're looking at a piece of parchment or some old paper that has stains that have been mistreated, maybe got some water in it, and that represents a thing. And you have another one here, and it's a piece of a puzzle with drawings, and we'll get back to them in precision later. And you get another piece here. So as you can see, though the stains are here, I managed to see some character. Let me zoom in for you. There were some letters and some script text, but it was very degraded beyond the picture. But I managed to find the meaning by zooming because the quality was so good I could zoom very extremely high. This is number 4, 4 in French. So this is written in French, all the comments around those pictures. And it says, or it seems to say, ouvrir le trappe. Open le trappe, with a little grammar mistake, should be la trappe. I need to check if in the old days they didn't say le instead of la, because the gender of words in French have changed throughout time. Open the trap door. Whoa, that rings a big bell, the trap door. And I didn't make any connection until we heavily worked with Michael on the features on the La Rochefoucauld map, which are the hole under the trapdoor and the valve, and we exactly know where they are now since Michael did that computation, but we don't know what they are. So maybe this can help. So there's a trapdoor here, this swing, and again you can pause the video and have closer look. We got more. So a detail here is that this thing is a huge shaft or rod that's got a screw. It's got a thread and a screw system. You can screw that thing up and down. And if you screw it down, you're going to block this passage. I'm only going to give you pieces of the puzzles now in this video because we got so much to explore, that I'm just giving you an overview, right, of what those pieces are and the type of data they contain. They contain graphics and instructions. Let's carry on. Another piece looks like puzzle pieces. And this one is very degraded, but you can read 5, instruction number 5. And when I read this, I can read open the plaque at letter F. Ouvrez la plaque à lettre F. So there must be a letter F somewhere. Yes, there is. Look here at the bottom. If I go back to this picture, F, F. And the trap is E. So these are lettered features that the author wants you to activate for some reason. Okay, let's carry on. This one's very interesting also. More letters, a big something in the middle, and it's instruction number 2. Fermez la soupape. That's what we read here. Fermez la soupape. Shut down the valve. The valve, la soupape. That rings an echo from the La Rochefoucauld map, huh? Doesn't it? Let's carry on. What else do we have? Another piece here, and it looks like a puzzle. No, better, it does look like La Formule. Look at those shapes. It is La Formula, same support. I came to realize that La Formule was a copy of this shape on which things were written, probably at the same time this piece existed. Let's carry on. This is another one with an instruction. Instruction number 1. Entrez brancard. Entrez dans le brancard, which means get inside the shaft. If I reverse that picture and turn it, that's the money pit, guys. With the every 10 feet you've got a deck of wood, and here is the 90-foot stone, that black piece here, and the flooding system from Smith Cove is pushing the water from there, meaning if you remove the stone and finish digging, carry on digging, you will reach that water pocket. We'll get into the hydraulics of the whole system in another video. There's a lot of things to do with these maps, many conclusions. Carry on. When I, of course, superimpose some of those drawings, they match. So now we're starting to have a real view on the money pit and what's at the bottom of the money pit, that square or rectangle. Let's carry on. Le brancard, that word I didn't know. I knew it for a stretcher. For when you get sick, they put you on a stretcher. That's a brancard in French, a medical term. But it's a long piece of wood allowing transport of an object attached to it. So if you got 2 brancards, yes, you get a stretcher for people who are sick and you need to transport them. But originally, it's a long piece of wood. But I discovered the English translation of the French word brancard is also shaft. So The person who was writing this at the time thought it was maybe English and thought that the French translation of shaft was brancard. There's two translations of shaft. Puits, a well to dig. Brancard, a piece of wood that you use to carry something. So it's valid. Brancard is the shaft, is the money pit. Donald Rood, the author of the Scrolls of Anteora, shows also some assembly, and that's the backside of those assemblies. And you get more instruction here, this one, which you read, comment est-ce qu'on procure de l'eau partie de tunnel, which can be interpreted two ways, either how to provide water, parts of the tunnel, or how do you provide water to leave the tunnel. Partie could mean two things, either left, from the word to leave, partir, to leave. Partie means left, it's the past conjugation, past tense. But partie also mean a part. So I think we're here. The question is how to provide, probably Old French or misused, how to make it that water leaves the tunnel. That's the set of instruction from this assembly of maps. And here is written l'île de Chêne, the Oak Island, in an old way. In French, the S used to be S with a bar here. So maybe on the La Rochefoucauld map, you see the S is crossed. That's in Old French, that's how you would write S. And you know, La Rochefoucauld map is full of crossed S for some reason. Okay, another part of this at the bottom, you've got two more instructions. Instruction number 3, open the hole. Instruction number 30, there's at least, or I think that's the last one, 30th instruction, something with the shaft. So let's have a look at this set of instruction, and that'll be very meaningful next slide. We're lucky to have set of instruction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're missing a lot, and we have instruction 30. That's the French instruction, and that's the English instruction translated. Entered. So what do they want to do? They want us to enter the shaft, shut down a valve, open a hole, open a trapdoor, remove a plate, and do other things that maybe we're going to be able to deduce. And finally, something with the shaft, probably refill, terre le brancard. From the word terre, that was used also, I use it from the La Formula. So enter the shaft means enter the money pit, like everybody did, enter the money pit. But then we'll discover in the next video, you shouldn't dig all the way down. You must stop before. But that's coming for later, because otherwise this video is going to last 2 hours. Shut down the valve. There's 2 valves we'll discover. There's 2 valves. Open the hole under the trapdoor, the one that's indicated in the La Rochefoucauld map. So all this was meaningless until we fully decoded, or we're very advanced with La Rochefoucauld map and start paying attention to the valve and the trapdoor. You know what? I was talking to Michael tonight, and I was telling him, it's been 250 years, people have been dynamiting and looking for things on the east side of the island. That was so expectable. The people who built that thing knew that the money pit would attract all the attention. And I would do the same. I would bury anything valuable on the west side where nobody would ever look. Would make total sense. And now I'm going to show you the last picture, the last one. And we'll get back to all of them later in further videos. This is the assembly of all those pieces I showed you with the instructions. This is an unbelievable, first of all, complex machinery, hydraulic system with 2 valve systems. We can see the money pit down, and you can dig as deep as you want. You will never find a treasure underneath the money pit at the vertical axis of it. You have to go into tunnels where to find the loot. The author says, and it's obvious, the map is not to scale. That sketch is not to scale at all, and we will demonstrate that in further video because we know how long those tunnels are. You have to also notice, first of all, the screw here. So this is a valve that works with a screw. And if you look at the very, very top part, the authors seem to indicate that here, point D, that screw is an open air, probably buried under a couple of feet of dirt now, but it's not something you have to dig 100 feet to reach. This is open air. This is, we believe, the valve, la soupape, indicated on La Rochefoucauld map. We'll get about the hydraulics and the phenomenon and how it works later in another video, but this is very interesting. They made it appear you can reach that huge screw. Well, huge, we don't know how deep because this is not to scale. So we don't know those dimensions at all. And you can't say because the money pit shaft is 155 feet, this must be, no. There's no way to corroborate. But it's pretty long and it's a screw. That's pretty elaborate for a valve, isn't it? And you would shut down this tunnel here. Another valve here shut down this tunnel. This looks like a big arrow. I'm giving you a hint there, but I'm not going to spoil Michael or my work for later video, but think of it. And last thing, just to notice, you can see water here. We know it's all about water. Look at that tunnel where the B letter is. If I'm walking down that tunnel, let me zoom a bit. I'm walking down that tunnel here, and yes, I got the opening to the vault in front of me. But if we got water underneath the system, a lot of water under pressure, that thing would float. The whole box here has got some room and space on top to vertically move because you would have, by accident, trigger the mechanism to protect it, and there would be a lot of water inside of there to a certain level. We know the water from the tide can go up to 30 feet from the surface, meaning the water would push the whole thing there. That thing is designed to float, moving up and closing the entry, like, you know, the Cube movie. If you've ever seen that crazy movie Cube, it's the same. The cube would move and you couldn't enter anymore until the day you managed to clear the water out, and that's what those valves are for. That's unbelievable piece of engineering. Bloody 60 or 100 feet under the earth. I mean, you have to build that thing. One thoughts we had with Michael is the buoyancy problem. If you have things into that encasement, that chest, that huge chest, the vault, it must have a certain weight, especially that they sealed it waterproof and probably armored it with metal or something so that it's nobody can break it from the external. So it's a pretty big and heavy piece. For that to be able to float, Archimedes' law, which was known back in the days, of course, says that the volume of the immerged item must compensate for its weight if you want it to float, meaning the surface area of that deck must be pretty big. I haven't done the calculation because I can't imagine the weight and the pressure of the water, but definitely 30, 40 feet in diameter, maybe 100 feet in diameter. Could be a huge piece of plate to be able to use buoyancy to go up and lock itself. That's your lock there. How ingenious is that? And again, we're only surfacing the mechanics of that apparatus. And I fully understood how to use the instruction if the booby trap is not triggered. That is the natural way of functioning. Let me talk about this for a second. I reread the Lunenburg diary where it explained in detail how the kids or whoever first discovered it, and they express their surprise to the fact that the money pit was easy to dig because the earth was not packed like it's been there 600 years. So I suspect that some people could go into the money pit every 50 years, every 70 years, whenever needed, to go down there, use the instruction and the way not to trigger, and now we get full instruction that explain you how not to trigger that booby trap, enter that corridor with that thing exactly in this position, and do whatever they have to do in that vault. And then go back and just put back the soil, and voila. And that's why the soil was fresh freshly moved when the kid found it. Let's remember they found it because they saw lights some nights before on the island. I think that's the legend. Some people went in there and had to go into that system for some reason that I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. I mean, it's not just about a treasure, because first of all, probably you cannot remove everything that's there through those passages because they're heavy or cumbersome. And I don't know what's in there. Knowledge, some relation to a DC, I don't know. But it's pretty elaborate. So we go again using the instruction in our next video to walk our way around all that system without triggering the mechanism. But we know now the mechanism has been triggered. All this is flooded. Flooded. Probably that casing is at the top now, stuck to the ceiling, and we don't know how high this is. This could be 100 yards, 100 feet, sorry, 200 feet. We don't know about the size of the construction, but we understand the principle of the mechanics and the hydraulics behind. And if you remember my Aboiteau video, the video just before, about that Aboiteau mechanism to empty swamps, I think there's an Aboiteau here on the right-hand side, and we'll get back to that in another video. A huge one. I mean, a serious Aboiteau they built for that one underneath the ground. This matches the surface island indication on La Rochefoucauld map because we can find the hole under the trapdoor. We saw there's a reference to it. There's a reference to at least one soupape, one valve. We may have two, actually, but one is accessible from the outside, just like the money pit is accessible from the outside, right? But they're not exactly on the same part of the island. And believe me, those distances are hundreds, if not thousands of feet we're talking, but we'll demonstrate that later in the video. So again, drilling down the money pit will reach nowhere according to this sketch. And of course, it's still questionable, is this genuine, authentic, true? But it corroborates many features with the La Rochefoucauld map, which now we believe we establish the relevance to the riddle, and its genuine answers is proposing based on Nolan's cross and riddles, and you know the story. And there's so many elements that matches the description of La Rochefoucauld map that I tend to believe, though I had a lot of doubts at the beginning, that this is actually a representation of the underneath of Oak Island with the money pit. Wow. 22 minutes later, down the ground, which is the duration of this video, I'm going to leave you to this. You can, of course, replay that video, pause on some of the image, start thinking about the hydraulics. And tomorrow will be probably another video moving forward with this material, because Michael is on the starting block to have his own video dispatched, but as he didn't want to spoil my work, and I don't want to spoil his, I had to make that introduction first and explain you what material we're going to use now, what they're made of. I will maybe have a video where they come from and their authenticity and how they were brought to our knowledge. Check this book, check the Google link that I will put in the description of the video, and meditate please about this structure, how impressive it is if it is really underground. Try to find a mechanism with the hydraulic fluid. It's like a hint game, and we'll talk a lot about this more. Again, we figure out the surface, we know where are those elements, but we needed a user guide, and this is instruction, drawing underneath, and I won't be the first one to get in there. I'd be too scared of getting drawn, but there is a way, there is a mechanism. Voila, more to come, definitely. This is the first of a new wave and series of videos and concepts and discussion we're gonna start with Michael. We haven't seen any of those before on the net or in any theory. I'm very happy, and I guess dot to dot is inspiring me by dotting to dotting. We're making connection, and again, this material I had for months, and now they come into play because they're so relevant now. Thanks for watching. Wish you a good day to all. Take care of yourself, and talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.